Hello once again and welcome back to the channel Held Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe and also click that notification bell if you enjoy what you're seeing and if you want to see more. Coming up in this episode, more about the NARL season after Toronto's announcement, brothers-in-law on the move, and 2 NRL games previews, results and scorers, all for your listening. So Toronto Wolfpack came out with a positive announcement yesterday, and there are plenty of positives that we've seen with this announcement and behind the scenes with Toronto Wolfpack's board being happy to continue with the NRLs in the current guise, and it determines that it wants to go with the NARL as they move forward. This will be followed up by Toronto Wolfpack following up this statement with more announcements in the future with regards to the team's merchandise, the club's store, and also the club's website. With all this positive energy with Toronto Wolfpack being involved in the NARL, there is one statement that has me asking a question though. The statement is, this season will be a soft launch with the home games at the Den and away games all on the East Coast against Atlanta, New York and Washington DC. The question that I'll be asking after that, does this mean that the NARL's Season 1 will be a 4-team format? With this question still ringing in my ears, I had to go and ask the people in the know, and I have got the information that we all needed to hear from after this statement, and it does mean indeed that year 1 will be a 4-team format with a playoff system at the end, the top 2 teams playing against each other basically for a grand final, and the teams are happy with this format to begin with, as it does mean that season 1 will be in the bag. They'll have some content, they'll have bugs all to sort out and will be sorted during the season, which when you're starting up you have to look at the bugs to make yourself better, because if you're not improving you're always going to be behind. So what does that mean? Well, the teams will play this first season and they'll be looking to organically grow the competition with the potential for more teams coming in year 2. While other teams have dropped out, these 4 are going to be the core that will start off the format in its own guise. Take 2. These 4 teams are more than happy to continue with the way that the NRL has come about and will be looking to grow with the league as it goes forward. I am one of those people that are looking forward to what comes next from the league and what stories it will come out of it and from each game, the stars it will make and what success will come out of the league as the years go on and on and on. As I'm looking down the line 10 years in the future, we could have what the Major League Rugby is at this moment in time for success in America, with their 6 teams per conference, 2 conference system, playing against each other in the playoffs at the end. If get that in 5 years time, then fantastic. We know this much, the league is going ahead. It is also being played in massive population centres, the lowest being Atlanta with over 500,000 people in the city. A market foothold would see rugby league in new parts of the world and hopefully shed off some of its parochial image, which in turn could force international and national bodies to find new ways of growth rather than the status quo they are in at the moment, and hopefully keeping the quality of rugby league pushing forward. So preparations are well in hand for the NRL Dolphins team, as they have signed Sean O'Sullivan from Penrith Panthers on a 3-year deal starting from the end of 2022. The 23-year-old will join from the Panthers, who he signed in 2022 for on a 1-year deal. O'Sullivan made his NRL debut with Sydney Roosters in 2018 before linking up with the Brisbane Broncos for 3 seasons. The halfback then joined New Zealand Warriors in 2021 before returning to Penrith, where he captained the Penrith's SG Ball side, featuring the likes of Brian Toto and Mitch Kenny to the Premiership and national titles back in 2016. He has made 25 appearances in the NRL, scoring 3 tries, and he has just made 4 appearances this year, with competition with Nathan Cleary and Jerome Luai in the halves. While O'Sullivan has been excellent in his deputy role to Nathan Cleary when he was injured earlier in the season, and also left out because of origin commitments for the Panthers, O'Sullivan filled in fantastically, but knows that he is basically third choice as a halfback because of the Blues pair's undoubted skill. However, he will now get a shot of being first choice halfback for the Dolphins in 2023 as he reunites with coach Wayne Bennett, who coached him in 2018 at the Broncos. However, the former England boss left the club before the half had a chance to play a game for the club. Dolphins chief executive Terry Reader said O'Sullivan will get the chance to make one of the club's half positions his own. "We are very excited to bring Sean to the Dolphins," said Reader. He showed last year with the Warriors he was a quality playmaker, and he has backed up that with his performances for Penrith this year. Our coach Wayne Bennett is especially pleased to finally be able to coach one that got away from him. He recruited Sean to contract with the Broncos before he moved to the Rabbitohs, and now he will get to work with him in a new team. Sean fills a major need in our roster, and we look forward to seeing what he can do in Dolphins colours. A player with still a lot of rugby league in him at just 23-year-old made his first grade debut in round 18 of the 2008 NRL season for the Sydney Roosters against Gold Coast Titans, also scoring a controversial try in that game. He's also son of NRL recruitment officer Peter O'Sullivan, and he also the brother-in-law of New Zealand Warriors front rower Matt Lodge. Speaking of which, the controversial journeyman prop is poised to sign with his 4th NRL club, with the Sydney Roosters reportedly close to securing his services for the remainder of the season. The 27-year-old is tipped to turn out for the Tricolours as early as Friday against ladder leaders Penrith, as Trent Robinson's men look to leap back into the top 8. He quit the New Zealand Warriors last month and will offer much needed mongrel tenacity to the forward pack, which has struggled for much of the season. Many tip the Chucks to be Premiership contenders ahead of round 1, but consistency has been a glaring issue, as have a number of players such as Luke Keary, Victor Radley and Jared Waihara-Hargreaves been on the injured list contributed to that. Lodge played the first 8 games of the year for the New Zealand Warriors, but moved to Sydney to live on the northern beaches of Bayview. He was tipped to sign on the dotted line for the Seagulls, but the Roosters have instead offered him a $100,000 deal. They had enough room in the salary cap to accommodate Lodge following the mid-season departures of young guns Ronald Voltman and Freddie Lussick to the New Zealand Warriors. Since quitting the Warriors, Lodge has played 1 game of second-grade rugby union in Brisbane with Norths. There was reports of a heated confrontation with Warriors owner Mark Robinson in May, which led Lodge to leaving the club, remarkably with a $700,000 golden handshake. He didn't want to play park footy, he told the Daily Telegraph, Lodge said. And he was aiming to keep fit until he got picked up by another club, on his own terms. Many see Lodge as a shrewd pickup for the Roosters, and he's similar to the deal that saw the club Supremo Nick Politis, low cross-code superstar Sonny Bill Williams back to the club in 2020 for 5 games. In his past though, Lodge was arrested in New York back in October of 2015 after allegedly assaulting a man and threatening 2 women, only months after he was stood down from the West Tigers for stalking charges. Lodge was taken into custody where he followed 2 women to an apartment and told them, "This is the night you die," and assaulted a man. Lodge was arrested after terrified onlookers called the police. Yes, there is baggage with Lodge. He's a little bit controversial in the signing. Will he better the Roosters after his performances with New Zealand Warriors? Possibly. Trent Robinson can get the best out of a player like Lodge, because he is coming into what many perceived was his prime. So we'll see how it plays out, but at this moment in time, after 2 years out of the NRL due to a suspension, he signed for the Broncos for 2018 and joined the Warriors a year later. The NRL rumour mill had also suggested that Lodge may reunite with Wayne Bennett at the Dolphins, who enter the competition as the 17th man in March. So this might be just a stopgap in the meantime, and will be joining his brother-in-law at the Brisbane-based club. With no Super League games played on Thursday night, we end with 2 games that were played in the NRL on Friday morning, in the UK that is. As we see first of all in this episode, the Newcastle Knights played the Gold Coast Titans. A season that started off with such promise has turned into a nightmare for 2 clubs who's played finals rugby league in 2021 and would have had designs of being part of the September action again this year. The Knights launched their campaign with wins over the Roosters and Tigers before hitting the skids with 7 straight losses, while Gold Coast Titans won 2 of their first 4 and pushed Parramatta and Canberra in the other 2. As they head into round 16 though, the Titans sit last with second wooden spoon in 4 years staring them in the face, while the Knights are in 12th, 3 wins outside the 8th spot. But they can take some comfort in the fact that their run home includes games against the Bulldogs, Titans and the Tigers, again in round 24. To say that this is a must-win match for both sides would be a massive understatement, and with so much at stake, this shapes as a gripping struggle in front of a loyal Newcastle faithful. The Knights have David Saifita as a late inclusion on the bench after he got through the final training session on Thursday, with Pasami Solo omitted from the squad. Robin Best's elbow has caused him an issue, so he won't play after he was cut from the extending squad. Star fullback Kalen Pongi has a concussion, and it rules him out following Origin 2, with his place taken by Tex Hoy. Lachlan Fitzgibbon and Jake Clifford remain in reserve. For the Titans, superstar David Fafita will return via the bench for his first game since round 12. Veteran Kevin Proctor, with a bicep issue, dropped off the extended bench on Thursday, but Corey Thompson remains in reserve despite a knee injury. Captain Tina Fasamalawe is set to be back from Origin, while Moeki Futuaka is good to go after representing Tonga on Saturday. It was the Newcastle Knights that took the game 38 points to 12, and the score could have been a whole lot bigger if 5 conversions were taken to push it out to 48. It's a bad day for the Titans, which their coach Justin Holbrook said they were terrible. We were awful was the exact quote. But anyway, Dom Young got the scoring off and going after he caught a crossfield kick on the 10-minute mark. Then 2 tries for Edric Lee, both coming from the half-backs. First, Milford throwing a over-the-top ball to Lee to score on the left edge, and his half-back partner Adam Clune going the same route. Dominic Young then got over with a spectacular dive for the corner after another over-the-top pass from Anthony Milford. Edric Lee scored 3 more tries in succession. The middle one was a bit controversial as it looked like his right hand had gone over the dead ball line touchline side. This was before Alexander Bimson and also Greg Marju went over for the Titans for their 2 tries. Jermaine Izako converted both of them on the 52 and 57th mark. As the game was closing down though, before Edric Lee's 5th try, Jared Wallace was sent off for a dangerous tackle. It was an over-the-top tip tackle, dangerous tip tackle that got him sent off. But both sides ended with 12 men as David Clemmer was simbing for his reaction at his mate being thrown down to the floor. At 22 points to 0 at half-time, you wouldn't expect that a hat-trick for one winger and 5 tries for the other would be the case. But Dominic Young scored on the 78th minute after picking up a loose carry that was dropped from about 75 metres out and running the rest of the length of the field to score underneath the posts. Tex Hoy converted 2 of the conversions, while Anthony Milford got the other. Our last part of the episode goes to Penrith Panthers at home against the Sydney Roosters. The Panthers' Origin contingent are surely to be buzzing after a magical night in Perth, but they face a fierce competitor and teammate in James Tedesco, while his Roosters side are determined to play finals rugby for a 6th successive season. No fewer than 10 members of the Blues' victorious 17-man squad could be on show at the Bluebet Stadium, depending on how they pull up, and whether coaches Cleary and Robinson choose to rest any of their stars. Panthers General Nathan Cleary was at his majestic best in Origin 2, but the Premiers have been able to deputise him with Sean O'Sullivan, should the number 7 be given a break for this game. Tedesco, though, has been magnificent in Origin 2 also, running for 259 metres and breaking 10 tackles for the Blues, and his presence will be a massive boost for the Roosters as they look to climb into the top 8 after dropping out in round 15. Now onto the sides 24 hours before kickoff. Nathan Cleary, Jerome Luai, Brian Toto, Stephen Crichton, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo and Api Coruscant were all named to back up from Origin 2, in other words, come back into the side, and have got through enough training this week. Fiji sensation Sunai Turuva and Matt Eisenhuth remain in reserve if any late changes were to occur on game day. For the Roosters, only one change for Brent Robinson's side with 24 hours to go, with Fletcher Blake replaced by David Saluka Fafita on the bench. Playmaker Luke Keary has a concussion, so is rested again. which means Sam Walker will play in the halves with Drew Hutchinson slotting in at 5'8". A huge plus for the Roosters as Victor Radley returns from a ankle injury and he takes his place at lock. So Nat Butcher goes to the bench, while Origin representatives James Tedesco, Daniel Tupos, Angus Crichton and Lindsay Collins are all aiming to join the starting lineups. And it wasn't quite business as usual for the Penrith Panthers, but they still came out 26 points to 18 victors. Brian Toto opened the scoring, which Sam Walker equalised, and not 15 minutes later. But Villarmi Kickout got the try before half-time to give the Panthers a 14-0 lead as Nathan Cleary converts one and kicks a penalty early on. Unfortunately for the Roosters, Angus Crichton was simming in that first half, and it showed as the Panthers took the lead and stretched it out a little bit more. That was until the second half when Siasoa Takiyaho went over in the 46th minute, which was followed up by Sam Verrills on the 52nd. Both kicks were converted by Sam Walker, who kept his total to 3 from 3, and gave the lead back, lead for the first time, to the Roosters. This kind of angered the Panthers as they upped their work rate, and Isaac Tago went over on the 64th minute. Then Api Coruscant completed the scoring on the 71st minute in terms of tries, while Nathan Cleary completed a perfect day with a boot. This gave the Panthers their 26 points to 18 victory. And that's it for another episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and also click that notification bell for any updates on new videos that may be coming your way. Tell me what your thoughts are on today's episode. Are you surprised with the go-ahead with the NARL going for 4 teams this year? 8 games, 9 in total, I think, for their first season? Or do you think that it's the right time to get the products on the field? Sean O'Sullivan joining the Dolphins for 2023. Will Matt Lodge join him, or Matt Lodge be part of the Roosters going forward? We will have to see about that in the coming months. And tell me about the games. What do you think of the 2 matches? Tell me in the comments below. Who performed the best? Who performed the worst? Who were you surprised by? Or were there some players still suffering from Origin 2 hangover? Comment. Also remember to share this video worldwide. And we need to grow this game. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I will wish you all the best. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next episode.